Is your command, is your command connected now? Okay.
I have two.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of people do. Right. And we basically had to start you a new one when you came here. Yeah.
So
A lot of people that came from other places that were using Dotloop have a secondary account when they got here. So getting the right one connected is important.
yeah, that was in the thing, and then when you connect, it still showed I was part of Platinum Partners.
Oh yeah.
Like when I put in my document, it still shows that.
That's funny.
Oh,
It's
that's fine.
tricky. Yeah. Well,
So you're gonna have to I can get it done. That's funny, but it's the hard way.
I mean, if you can, uh, where do you have it? If you, I mean, if you have your folder set up, it's just way easier to drop everything in and then connect.
Wow.
And we're just gonna do, we're gonna start with the buyer side today, but first, which I believe is in here already, which mine is from last year, so we can delete it and start over. So starting with first things first.
You're in your new?
Is everybody connected command wise to their Dotloop? The steps. I like the board. I like the steps on the board. Thank you. This is what we're doing today is Dotloops. We're setting up new, like your new folders for this year.
Okay.
Yes, for the templates. So I don't have any like paperwork or anything. I just kind of go off of what I've done before. So good morning, everybody. We are going today to work in your Dotloop and set up your templates. We're going to start with the buyer side. That way, when you have a client, it's just making your process easier. So first, everyone, just make sure that you please are connected in your command because it will also make it more simple that way as well. Because everything that we start is always start in command. So every time you have an opportunity, start with it first, create it, and connect your Dotloop that way, and then you can do your forms in there the easy way. So that way it makes it more simple for you. So once you are connected to command, which I don't have it pulled up. I don't really. But so today we're just going to make the templates as in the buyer folder for this year so that you can have that ready to go. I'm going to start at the top. So if you are logged into Dotloop right now, if you go up here to the top and go to template, where we're going to start. And it should bring up what looks like all of the options that you have on yours. We are actually going to, I'm going to delete these so that they don't look confusing.
Yeah, how do we delete forms like 2025?
So over here along this side, when you slide over, you'll get the which ones that you actually can delete. Some things are permanent, but like that has the three little dots and you can go through and delete last year's folder. Some of these are only allowed to duplicate. Obviously, everything from KCRAR you cannot delete out of your Dotloop. So, but up here at the top, you have the new folder button, which is where we're going to start. And it is going to pop you down the option to create your folder. And we're going to start with 2026 buyer. We'll just put buyer folder. But you can name it however you like. Yes. Yes. Most of yours has been updated already. So not that's okay. There's some stuff though, if you don't see it in there, that you're more than welcome to add to it. So now everyone's look like this? Perfect. Okay, so the common things that I put in the buyer folder, we'll go over here to templates. Now you should have all of the same folders again that you can add from. I usually just have one for residential. I don't do a lot of obviously commercial, anything, but for a buyer. So you can go up here to the search bar. First things first is the buyer agency agreement. Let's see how quickly it pops up here. Exclusive buyer agency contract. And then, and I'm inside that folder, inside 2026 forms, just so everybody know that. Also, good morning. Start with a fiber notice for the buyers. And I'm going to check that as well. And we're just going to leave that like that. And then in here, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, a Missouri broker disclosure form. Those are the three that I pulled from there. I'm going to hit copy, and all of those folders should be now in my buyer folder. Did that work for everybody? Yes.
Only because I thought it was a class on, what are they, smart plans.
Oh, you're good. No, you're totally fine. Correct. Yes. Well, yeah, you're allowed to go. No, you're good. I promise you're allowed to leave.
Thank you. Can I go potty too?
Yeah. More than you are allowed. You only get one pass though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I need.
I don't have anything scheduled yet, but.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, you're good. Okay, some other things that we'll need to add are in the Southland document folder. Okay, give me just a second. You go.
Go down to 20. Where we are. Choose the three that she chose, the exclusive buyer agency, cyber protection, and the Missouri broker disclosure. Just check them. Check that, no. Go back up to the search bar, do cyber protection, done this a lot. The third one.
Missouri broker. And Southland does have one that's already pre-filled in its own folder, but this one is just a little more updated and I've just been filling it in as I go. But we'll get to that as well. So first we're adding, I'm getting excited, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, all right, now we're going to go into Southland documents, and in here, usually whoever I'm working with, we're using Caulfield. So I go ahead and put a wire fraud form in the buyer folder just so that I can grab it quickly. And then the buyer inspection recommendation addenda. No, oh, sorry, I did that backwards. Don't look at me. Let me get back out of there. Okay. The buyer inspection addenda. Yes. Now, if you don't use Caulfield on a regular basis, you don't have to add that in there. It's just something I know for me personally that's going to get grabbed and put in there as well. So that is in there also. Now, these are just the ones that I start with. On your own, if you have more time, I mean, you're welcome to put a copy of a real estate contract in there or whatever items that you would like to add. But these are the ones that help get a buyer folder going just like that. So now that these are in here, so for this, we'll start with this one. The great thing about this is that you can pre-fill these in here like this and save them like this so that when you load it to your file, it's already filled in. So for here, we would just fill in everything for this brokerage. Also, as far as the brokerage, you can fill in this and save it this way. So the authorizing the following relationships that we allow here are designated agency. Where you do that? Yes.
Go ahead. I typed in my information.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so designated agent here and transaction brokerage is it? Oh, goodness, sorry, I'm really struggling to get.
You're doing great.
Like,
It's hard to do it.
there we go.
Giant mouse.
Yeah, designated agent and transaction broker. I know those are the ones that we specifically allow here at Southland, so you can go ahead and pre-check those. And then down here in this box is where you're going to fill in all of Southland's information. So It is, whoa. We have one in the Southland folder that is already pre-filled, but this one is the most recent. I don't know that the form has actually changed over the last few years or anything, but we have it anyway. So Keller Williams Southland and our address, which is West Foxwood Drive, in Raymore, Missouri. And then I like to add, oops, sorry, the brokerage's phone number. Yes. And then always hit save. If anything, hit save as many times as possible. So, because you never know. Okay, so that one is now completed. And then the buyer, the cyber protection, it auto knows that it's your buyers in there. So every time you add it to the loop, it's automatically going to put that signature field in for them. But on the buyer inspection addenda, this is a PDF form. So there's nothing here now, but you can go ahead and add the signature lines in here so that when you put it in your file, it's already there. So the biggest thing about today is these forms are already that you're saving time. Okay. Okay, now for, and even I think wire fraud, you could pre-fill all of these things in as well. So, and that's if you're using Coffelt. If you're not using Coffelt, you would not have to do that. But here, if you are, you can already you can add your text lines here so that they are ready to go. And then that's not where that goes, sorry. One up.
This one always confuses me. Do they have to sign this? Like, it doesn't say signature, it just says their name.
Right, and so for this form, I just put the signature up on the top line. Yeah.
That's what I've done, but
Yeah.
I think that's still-
I know that it just says their name, but like if I think the very first time, one of these times that I did just fill it in, I just filled in their name and title said they needed signed.
Okay.
So I'm going to do something right here, and I don't know if you guys use your little shortcuts for Dotloop like I do, but I'm going to highlight this little text bar and do Control Shift C. Oh, I can't do
What are we adding?
it. Yeah,
What does that do?
it's going to copy it. And now if you go over to like, it won't let me do it on here, but it's okay. So like if you go over here and click and you put Control Shift V, it'll drop that, what you just copied over here. C copies it.
Hi?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It doesn't like it on mine. Yeah. They're like little shortcuts that you can use. And it helps make it much quicker so that you can they're already all filled in. Once again, it's just all about making your life easier when you're doing these items. And even though they say you can't delete things in Dotloop, if you haven't sent it with a signature on it, you actually can delete the piece out of there. But once it's got a signature in it, though, you can't. See, the shortcuts are my favorite.
You know how many times I've seen
It took me a while, but now that I use it, it makes this form. So this is where I have signature boxes added to the top so they can fill in, and then I just added a text box here and here. And then if you copy and paste them, you can add them all the way down to the property address and all the lines basically so that it's ready to go. So I'm going to save this like this for now.
You're making a copy in there. That's what you touch that. You can touch that.
You're loud. That's funny.
Oh,
It's okay.
I'm practicing.
Okay, now for the big one, the one that is this. Ta-da! Everybody is in the buyer agency contract. Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. So you will not fill in the top line here because that will be where your client is. That is the buyer, so that one will need to be filled in. But on line 3 here, you can click and go ahead and fill in the brokerage's name, Keller Williams, Southland Partners. And it is our brokerage. It is not your name. Just so wrong. As a compliance person, it is the brokerage's name, not your name.
We need an LLC on that or just throw it in the one?
I just do Southland Partners. I mean, you could do the LLC, I guess, if you wanted to be fully legal. Yeah, that's why we have all the other names for our as well. Okay, if you like to have this stuff already done, you can go ahead and pre-fill all the boxes, which is great. If they are going to be looking for different things, I usually have at least residential checked. And you can always, when you drop this into each file, you can still, it's still changeable. Like it's not gonna freeze this and make it not able to change. So there's that. Location and price and date. So all of the lines from 13 to 16 and 17 will need to be when you're working with your client. And then let's see here. If you have this ready to go, we are down in section 6 for compensation to broker. And then you can go ahead and fill that in. If you know that your number is obviously 3%, you can do that, but it's also whatever you choose as, you know, once again, this is all editable. You can change this. We do 3% of the sale or of the purchase. I know that's, we don't have to put net or gross anymore.
We really do.
No. If you are using this next section, I've seen both where it's not necessarily always filled in, but you can as well. So on here, if you have an unrepresented seller, this would be if you're charging 3% because that is your number, would be the sale price. And then we're going to drop right down to the next line. And just so everybody knows, that is the total amount. So it is 6%, 3% from the line above and 3% of the selling side. We 6% of the sale price. Obviously, that is always negotiable and can be changed if needed. If you charge an admin fee, so I see this a lot, and if you charge an admin fee, you will need to check this box and have the compensation and what it is for. And that is something that Darren has even touched on before. Like, if you're going to have it in there, please make sure you label what it is for, because it could be, you know, and then make sure that it's also labeled as dollars, because before we've seen it where it just has like 250. Well, what is that? Like, is that Andy's mints? Is that, you know, like, how do you want to be paid? So just being as descriptive as possible. If you're not filling this in, sometimes I see this a lot and this is checked and it says NA or waived. You don't even have to do that. If you're not charging it, you don't have to check the box and fill it in. So we don't use a retainer here. And then calendar days here, this is something that you probably have picked out for you. I know on the ones that I do, we do 90 calendar days after termination that you could be due your compensation for if they secure a property that you had showed them. And then mail, if you have to submit in writing to them about that, I give you, that's totally up to you on what those days are. Everyone is different, so I've seen every number. Then we're moving all the way through. Make sure you're taking some time to read these areas here. Brokerage relationship disclosure. I feel that everyone should know this just as much as the buyer is reading it. So please make sure that you read through this. Make sure that you understand what each different type of agency is. If you are a transaction broker, we have a separate form for that. Things that we do not do in this office are sub-agency and dual agency. And you can read about that. I will not bore you with that conversation right now, but please read it. Please know the difference. And then down here. So Everything that you read up here is why we fill in section 8 here on what kind of brokerage relationships they would consent to. And there are things that we do as well as a brokerage. Our brokerage does not do buyer agency. We have a designated agent per client. So yes, you can do a transaction brokerage here if you choose. We don't, like I said, we don't do dual agency, but we do have a designated agency for the buyer, and the buyer consents to the appointment of a designated agent for the seller if need be. So no, yes, no, yes, yes. Now, please note that once again, know the difference of what you're checking and why you're checking it. So I think we get really used to just saying, oh, it's no, yes, no, no, whatever. But why is that and what do each of those mean? Please read those ones. And here, we recently got rid of the Keller Williams franchise disclosure because now it is a part of this form. Always in section 14, rechecking that box. Any additional terms or conditions, if any, that you have specifically, you could pre-fill this. I know Shelby has something that she always has, and it's in every one of them, and it's something that she's pre-done, and it is something that she goes over with her clients. That, you know, she has a number or something in mind that they agree on. And if they don't, you know,
Shelby's my hero.
yeah, she has like, basically if she's working with someone and they cancel on her, or if they, you know, back out of it, there is a specific number that they agree to pay her regardless of what she does. So that is something that she has gotten with her clients and they agree to. So if you ever meet her or talk to her around, you should ask her about it. I mean, and they're always signed, so good for her. So she holds them accountable, basically, which is great. Okay, down here at the bottom is just filling when you're in command, and we'll get to that. When you're dropping these in, this stuff will auto fill in from your loop as far as the buyer email and phone numbers, which is great. But here you can just pre-fill in that for our brokerage again. And then you can pre-fill down here your name. So usually this is only going to be you, or if you're on a team, you can put your whole team's name in there. That way that, you know, anybody on that team would be able to show that client. You do not have to put Darren's name. Darren's going to sign down here at the bottom, and he would be, you can actually, yes, this is pointing you of the designated agent. Or like if you like I said, if you were on a team, so like with them, they will put, you know, like if Nanette is doing it, Nanette is, and then Lonnie as well. That way everybody can be. So you could put your name here. So I'm going to put your name here. Maybe. So, and then you are done. And you can hit save and save. Now, that is really the gist of everything that I have. And really the rest of it is just you putting in the forms that are specific to you or what you like to have in there. And then next time we can also go over on the listing side and all the documents that are in there. But it's the same kind of thing. So if you want to play with it, you're more than welcome to do that. So for, I guess if you want to see it in action here. Let's go with we can do this one. Okay. So if I wanted to add a folder, this is where that gets nice and easy. You go in over here to templates. This is where all your documents are going to be. Because even when you open your loop for the first time when you're coming from command, it's going to be empty until you put those documents in there. So 2026 buyer folder, say this is the buyer that I have. Here are all my forms. You can select all if you would like really quickly and hit copy. And now everything is in there and ready to go. To fill in the details, and then you are good to go. So if we start here, I also am a big person on, I like to pre-fill in the autofill section as much as possible and make sure that each like person is in there or whoever, you know, whatever needs to be filled in, because Dotloop remembers that. And every time you add something in, it's going to start with putting their information up there for you to see, your clients. and also making sure that you get your name on there as well, because then it will autofill everywhere where you need to sign, which also helps you when you're filling out forms in the long run. Because I feel like a lot of time, especially in contracts, if you're not putting yourself in there like as the buyer agent or the list agent, it gets missed signing a lot, especially on page 16 at the bottom. We miss that one a lot. So, but now everything that we just did is in there, and all of the details now that we would need to be filled in can be filled in, but it just takes so much time off of your plate. Here, if you had a buyer already set up and their info was already in the loop, their initials would already be in that box. The client's stuff would already be there. You're only filling in the pertinent information that you need. Once you hit save, then it's ready to go and you can share it if needed. That's really it. That's the gist of my my file. So other little things that I do that help. This is something that we went over last time, and I think that's why she definitely remembers Joanna. For me, and this is just a personal thing, to keep things when in the file, like to help me what do you call it, with compliance for that matter. Once something is fully completed by everyone, so like once the buyer agency contract has been fully completed, it's been signed by my client, it's been signed by Darren. I go over here to the side, I hit rename, and I just put an FE at the front, and then I hit enter. So for me, that means it's fully executed. And I know that when I'm going in to do the file in command, that's the one that I would need to choose, because it is the one that is completely executed, if that makes sense. And if they are seller forms, so that's the nice thing about this is right over here on these little dots. If you know that you still need it or it needs something, like my personal thing is I put a couple of stars. If it's not completed, I put a few stars at the front, and I know that one needs to. It's really more just about an organization thing to help you move faster through, and you know what needs to be done when you're auditing your file to get yourself paid, because ultimately that's what you want. Yes, and then yeah. Well, sometimes I'll separate them. Sometimes I'll separate them too. So like at the like in the buyer side, the fully executed stuff is in one thing, and then same thing. Like if this still needed to be signed, I would slide it to the top and put the stars there. Or like if my buyer agency contract, which comes up often, isn't signed by Darren, I'll slide it to the top and do the stars and say Darren. And I sometimes I just feel like Darren. Then I know it needs to go back to him. Sometimes a few times, but he gets there. So it's just helpful for me to keep things neater and much quicker on the other end when you're going into command. So I, yeah, that's about the gist of it. Yeah, we're all about making things as quick and easy as possible. I'm sure you have a lot of other things you'd rather do with it, right? You can do the listing ones. Yeah, we can. We were going to have, I think, possibly a secondary one to go through listing stuff too, but yeah. Oh no, we can do it now. It is totally fine. Okay, so same thing. We're gonna go back to the top. You are going to go into your templates up here, and we are going to add a new folder. And this will be for your 2026. So, one thing I didn't tell you before I start that. Next year, obviously, these will change. So the one thing about these folders is that you do have to update them for each year, because when a form changes, whatever you have in that doesn't auto update, you have to go in and pull in the new one. So if you didn't want to make a whole brand new folder and only, say maybe only the cyber protection notice has new wording next year or something, if you wanted to do that, you could change the name obviously here and edit, rename it for 2027. And then if you needed to get rid of that, so over here on the side, you can delete the old one out and put a new one in. All right, let's see here. Now we're gonna go new folder. 2026. Okay. This one, the only things I really put in here, same thing, are stuff that you would need to get the file started. for the listing. Everything that's under contract is usually I just pull it from just this residential forms later on, but everyone is different. So if you would like to add them, you're more than welcome to. Okay. Now we're going to add a few items from here. So here, for me, once again, I know that most of the time we use CAUFELT. Not everybody uses CAUFELT all the time, and that's totally fine. But you can add the payoff authorization form right away from here, and it will go in there. That way it's already in there when you create, if you pull listing docs into there, you can know that you can already have it in there when the time comes for them to have to fill out the payoff. Now, I will tell you, CAUFELT will always send you the payoff authorization anyway, but if you have it already in there, it just makes it quicker. You shouldn't need wire fraud for the sellers, but I add it sometimes, and if CAUFELT asks for it, then we have it, but it's supposed to be more for the buyer side. Some places use it for both, so it's just, all right, so now we are in 2026 KCRAR residential forms. So for this one, we are going to pull the exclusive right to sell and make sure that you are pulling the right one. I've seen different ones in there, so make sure that you're pulling the right one. Yeah. Please double check that for exclusive right to sell. Now I pull, let's see here, also a cyber protection for sellers. We're going to click that. Same thing as before, we're going to go back to the top, a seller's disclosure. And also for this one, you can pull in as many of these as you want. I typically only pull in the residential one, but I also work with somebody who does a lot of acreage. So I went ahead and pulled in the land one. It's just easier. You don't always have to put it in the loop each time, obviously, but it's there. Makes it quicker. Okay, let's see here. I like to keep a copy of lead-based paint, both things. So the brochure, so that you can have it because from what I understood, I didn't know this for a couple of years, so I say oops on me, but the brochure actually goes to the sellers and the buyers, not just a buyer when they're seeing a house that has lead-based paint. Technically, we're supposed to give the brochure to both. So didn't know that at first. My bad. So I go ahead and pull that in there, and then the lead-based disclosure for purchase and sale and not the rentals or leases, like you said. Which one? Yeah, if you start typing like EPA, I think it pops in there. Okay, EPA.
Not with EPA.
Yes.
I know when we share it with our client, it's recorded in the history of the loop that it got shared. Do we need them to sign it or just?
I don't have them.
It's not required for compliance. It's
right.
Scale a little bit better, but
yeah.
I
The brochure. Okay. I mean, I feel like if it's your process and you're comfortable doing that, it's totally fine. But I know that the main goal is making sure that they have a copy of it. And we always, when I send it to people, usually I'll send it separately so they don't lose it in like a full list of documents and just say, this is also attached as a PDF to save for your records. That way you know that you did your part on making sure that they have it. Okay, I'm trying to think. My brain is. Oh, I know what I'm looking for. Okay, back over here in the templates. I know this is one that we tend to forget sometimes, and it's pretty normal. An estimated proceed sheet. So, other sellers estimated proceed sheet. Now, everyone does this a little differently. I know that a lot of people, we should be sending it with the listing documents when they're signing. So it is a question you usually do have to ask. I know not 100% everyone's comfortable, but how much do you owe? Because that's going to be part of that sheet. So, but that would be, it's always great to have that at the time of the listing. It helps them see physically like where they're at. Also, I know some teams and some people do also send one once the house goes under contract so they can see the difference from what it was like when they listed it and where they're at for the price. So also something you can do there. Same thing as before. I'm trying to think, is there, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Is there any other listing documents that I'm missing? Proceeds, sellers, lead in case it's needed, exclusive right to sell, seller's exposure. Oh, I know one that I keep in here that obviously not everybody uses, but if you need it, you can always have it in here is wastewater. If you're doing anything that is on an acreage that has septic. Or if it's not on acreage and it has septic, you would still want to have it if it's got a septic system. So same thing here as before, like on the seller's estimated proceeds sheet, you actually can pre-fill some of this stuff a little bit. Like if you use Kaufelt and I mean, they're for the most part, like the closing fee and the title insurance are they're about the same depending on the policy. Your compensation here, you can give your admin fee and pre-fill it. That way it's already ready to go. It's just that much quicker when you do the form. Okay. Same thing here. Let's see here. Exclusive right to sell. The others are a little bit tricky. You can't fill in as many listing forms because it's really more seller based and they have to fill them in a lot more. But on the exclusive right to sell, we can do the same as before. And you can go in and fill it in on the lines that you're not going to fill in your client's names, but you can fill in the brokerage's name. Everything else in here is kind of through, as you're listing it, so you can't really pre-fill some of that stuff in. But the things that you can pre-fill on these that are super helpful. This one,
Can I ask you?
yes,
For also compliance?
yes,
That section F is new this year, the
yes.
distribution, so we obviously would check, so full distribution and push it out to all the MLS, like push the listing out everywhere, so active with full distribution.
Yes.
But if it's coming soon, do we also need line 71 also?
You do not.
Okay.
No.
He asked me that, he's like, don't, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I asked him about it too, and he said no. Last time I talked to him.
Top one, if it is coming soon, it's
Just coming soon, yeah.
and it auto flips over and he has
To
verified
active.
that with KCRAR.
So it's box 71.
If you're doing a pre-MLS, this one, yeah,
If we're
coming
doing
soon.
Plus, that one,
Mm-hmm.
and it flips over, so we don't need 64 also?
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Compliance. Yeah, no, that's helpful, because I know that's a new section for all of
We
us.
will be talking about that tomorrow on the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other issue that I had.
Way to go, Carrie.
It's like, no, you should do on a Friday afternoon at 2:15.
Sorry. Yeah. And
Thank you.
they changed like this wording on us and they added it because if you've looked in when you're putting your listing in now, there is that whole section about are you distributing to all of the sites? Because that's really what this is a part of is like, is your seller going to allow those photos and all that to be distributed to the websites that we use, or do they not want it? And if they don't, then you have to also in the MLS click that section and make it no. Otherwise, it's going. So yeah, I mean, it's really rare, but you do run across a case where maybe a couple is splitting up and they don't want people to know that the house is up for sale, or it's just maybe they don't really want it out there. So
Your client is so rich and famous that
there you go. Yeah. If you're a very high-end client that doesn't want anybody. Yes. So and if they choose no distribution or limited, there is a section here that you will either keep it that way or it will go to full distribution, which you would have to go in on the MLS and change that as well. So just a heads up on that. Oh, down here, if you've fill this in with anything, you're more than welcome to fill in whatever percentage. I've never seen anybody fill this part in and keep like part of the escrow money. On 116 here.
the escrow money here,
Correct.
so I don't know how we.
Right, because we don't actually retain any of that stuff, of the deposits, because it goes straight to our title company. We don't actually keep that money here.
Brokerages who, if there's a cancellation, they take part of that. I don't know if that's where you put it.
Right, this is about the buyer, technically. Right, this is the escrow account, because, yeah, we don't do that.
I do know what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I don't know that that's even where you put it either.
No, and I think you can request it on the cancellation, like the specific amount that you're asking for. Correct, yeah.
I mean, I'm not a broker.
But we don't hold the deposits, so it's a zero there. Okay, this one is usually client specific. When you're speaking with them, are they going to authorize the reason that they are closing if you were to get asked, or do they not? If they do, why are they moving, or pull that in there? If you don't authorize that, as the seller's like, I don't want you to tell, Jenny from 21 what we're moving because the walls are full of mold. No, just kidding. But like, but either way, And then section B is the same. That would be a good conversation for you to have with your clients. Usually I'm checking this one here that you can speak about, yes, other offers have been received, but there's no terms given for that. So it's really more protecting your client than anything. Once again, we are to the part where we talk about brokerage relationship. We do that. Make sure you understand what we do here, what we don't do here, and what each different one of those things means. And that's a long one. Then down here at the bottom, same as before, but there's a few extras in here on a seller side. So no, we do not do seller agency here at this office. Yes, you can do transaction brokerage if your client allows. You will sign a separate form for that as well, and everyone will sign that. This office does not do sub agency or dual agency in this area. I'm sure other offices do. We do not. Yes, you are consenting the appointment of a designated agent for the seller. That would be you. And then, yes, for the designated agency for a buyer, which is normal around here. So, and then same thing down here in compensation. So you can pre-fill this with whatever your standard is, or if you have a number in mind, again, you can do that. But that's also a conversation that you would have with your client. Obviously, everyone's working for that 3%, but we know there are some things that change. I've seen some of them here. Oh, wow. Can't type. I have seen some here depending on the person or the team or the client. I mean, I've seen this say 5% of the sale price. So it just depends on the person. It just depends on your conversation. So we're just gonna do the norm here, but like I said, this is all negotiable. And making sure that you're adding both together for this bottom line. I see a lot as compliance that this bottom line here just says 3%. It should be the total of both together. Now, if you remember right, and I know we've talked about this before when these forms first came out, if you don't put anything there, you can't get paid any more than what is there also. So like you have to be specific on that as well. And here, if you're charging an admin fee or any other compensation, and it doesn't always have to be an admin fee, especially on the seller side, I see a lot. I mean, I see photo fees where they, the photography is done, but they charge the seller back at the end, usually like $250. And I've seen both. So I've seen like in that line, depending on you or how you do things, I've seen the admin fee and I've also seen a photo fee together. Like they have more than one in there. So it's not limited to just an admin fee. And there's not like a standard on an admin fee. That is totally up to you, but also what you want in there. So if you're doing high-end photos or something and you maybe want to get paid back for that, that's where you would put that. So just a heads up on that one as well. That's not, okay. Also up here on these don't always have to be percentages. They can also be, if it's a smaller, if it's like a bare piece of land that's a lower, you can always make it a flat fee. It doesn't always have to be percentages. This depends on what you're selling. Protection period, so this one, 90 days if left blank, but I always try to tell everybody, please fill in everything as much as possible. So if no sales made during this contract, you're basically holding them for 90 days after. I believe if someone comes back that had previously written or wanted to purchase the property. Down here, this is client specific, obviously. I know for me that I would usually, once again, fill this in with Kaufelt because we just do that right here in our office. But you can fill in your title company as needed. It's just for us. I know that it is easiest to get what I need from Kaufelt. Their names go in here. I'm trying to get clarification on this, but it would be the property. This is where it helps to know if you're who pulls the realist before they list the property and looks at make sure whoever's on there is also listed. In Missouri, again, it is 1 to buy, 2 to sell. So if Mrs. Seller got married to Mr. Seller after she bought the house, they'll both be on these documents to sell in the state of Missouri. Or, so I always like to kind of look at that too to see who's on there to fill in on who the property is vested in.
Yeah,
So
it's a good idea to make sure that the person you don't know them,
yes.
they actually own the house. And have
Correct. And
permission to sell.
we've run into that before where we have client names and the people that are on the tax roll are not the same people. And obviously it's like, hey, who are you? So yes.
They don't.
Yes.
They weren't married, purchased, and it was only in one thing. That's the thing.
I have done that before. Like if they were single at the time, I've seen other people that have put like the property, because you have quite a few lines there. Sometimes it's like a big thing, but you could say, the Mrs. Seller's name and then a single person, and then you could put both of them together at the bottom, even though it's probably still titled in just one person's name. Yeah. And if something were to change, I mean, that's a plus side of why we pull title work and everything anyway. And if you're really, really unsure and it seems a little odd, I would reach out to Kaufelt and do a prelim title because they can pull everything and you could see any red flags that would come up right off the bat that maybe they didn't want to tell you about. Like a forbearance that hasn't been paid, or they haven't made a house payment in like a while, or there's a lien on the house. So those things are important to help you through the sale as well. But that would be what you would fill in there. And that is saying, the names here are also not limited to their marital status, trusts, all that stuff. So I always put their marital status in there as well. Limited home warranty. Typically, if they tell you right off the bat that they want to sell their house with a home warranty, great. You can fill all that information here. But most likely than not, you're checking this does not agree to purchase a home warranty. That's prior to the contract. It can come up in the contract where the buyer asks for it, and it's, you don't have to go back and change this if you do end up having a home warranty. It's just, this is prior to, like at the listing time, they're already warranting the house. Over here, once again, section 14, we do not have a franchise disclosure anymore. We have one that it tells them that this broker is a member of a franchise. So we don't have to fill that in. And here, once again, if you ever have a chance to talk to Shelby, you should. She's got a great little thing that she fills in. It's the same kind of thing. She basically lays it out pretty black and white for her clients that, we're going to work together. I'm going to put in the time and the effort. And if you walk away from this or anything, like she has a fee that she charges. The tricky part is I don't know, like, how do you enforce it a little bit? Yes. But I mean, she still puts it out there. Her clients are comfortable signing it. Like, so it is out there. So whatever, if not, if you don't have any other, this would be the place though, if you had a client that was really specific, or I know this has come up before, Darren's had these before. This is where you could put like client requests to not have a sign in the yard. If they are not wanting to put certain things out there, you can add these terms in there so that it's listed. Because it does come up. Occasionally you have someone that is really private and they don't want all the neighbors knowing that they're selling and they don't want a sign in the yard, or they're, something specific. So that is where you can fill that in as well. A lot of that. Once again, down here, you'll put in our brokerage's name. Woo. Type better on this than I thought I was going to. So that's exciting. From command, most likely it's auto going to pull in their telephone numbers and emails. From here, you would put in anybody, you are the designated agent. So each person is going to be, once again, if you though are on a team or have somebody that you work with, like Brandy may put her and Caesar both on everything just so that it's right across board. Ryan and Stephanie usually are both on there just because like it's just easier that way. And they can both, talk to the client, help the client. They can do different things for the sale. So your name here. What we're gonna put there. Ta-da. And once again, save. Maybe hit save as many times as you can. Maybe do a few, hit save. Do a few, hit save. But that one is now filled. So when you go to pull it in to a file, it is also ready to go. That is it. That is all I have.
Great. I do have another question though.
Yes.
Kind of related, but kind of not.
Okay.
On the lead-based paint
Mm-hmm.
disclosure, there's some weirdo wording on there. On line 47,
On the lead-based paint.
on the lead-based paint. Read that next page, it's at the top,
Mm-hmm.
line 47, licensee assisting the buyer has informed the seller of the seller's obligations under, it's almost like it should be buyer. Why is the licensee assisting the buyer informing the seller of their obligations?
Right.
So if we mark that, because that's where we would have to mark, we would admit that as a buyer.
Right.
That's saying we did that.
That we've informed the seller.
I think it's a typo, right? It says exactly what the top line says in F.
Yeah, I think this should be buyer.
The buyer's
Obligations.
Somebody copied and pasted too hard.
Yes.
Well, so when we get flagged for, like, I know Stephanie puts NA on that, like.
Yeah.
Doesn't apply, but then it comes back as, hey, you need to sign here, so I just go ahead and sign it.
Yeah.
Anyway, just that was interesting.
And is aware of his or her responsibility to ensure compliance. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be, the inform the buyer of their obligation because you're,
I mean, because that's what the old form used to be. You said you educated your buyer
right.
on these things. Yes, I did, sign it, but now it says seller.
Because there's a line for each person. Yeah. Which they told us that was coming, but that line does really not make sense actually at all.
So I just am shocked that nobody in the whole PCRR has caught that or reported that.
Just sign it. We're just filling it in, but that's where you can tell that maybe everyone's just fill and paste and fill. Yeah.
That's, anyway, thought that was interesting and didn't know if I was the only one.
No. I mean, I look at these and I see, I get and here's the thing is I get this far. And it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, this is the line where the buyer agent signs. Interesting. Yeah, we may just have to reach out to that and ask for a little bit of explanation as to what the wording is, or is it just incorrect?
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
How many items?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 items.
Okay.
But I don't always, houses are all different. So not all 9 of those are ever going to go in at the same time. It depends, if you're not doing an acreage, you're not going to have a few of those. If it was built after 1978, yeah, you're not going to have lead-based paint. So, but they're all just there in case you do need them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I promise it will make your life much easier.
Yes.
And it's much quicker. That is great. It's good to have. Okay, I'm done in here. No, she does
I
not.
do not.
I know that.
That they will pay for photography and my admin fee. Those are the only 2 costs I'm really gonna have outside of my gas and time, which is a stinker. However, that's part of what I signed up for. It's for me, but I've only think I've ever had anybody cancel. Haven't? Have I had anybody?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I haven't run into that yet.